Okay, these are all the ingredients. We're making chicken noodle soup today. These are all the ingredients we need to make chicken noodle soup. Today we have in front of us diced chicken, celery, tomato, onions, chicken base, oil, salt, pasta, carrots, and celery. The next step we will do is dice all our ingredients, which would be the onion, the celery, and the carrots, and we also dice our tomatoes. So I'm going to be doing that now. We dice our onions, our celery, our carrots, and our tomato, just so everything cooks evenly. We try to keep everything within the same size so it cooks evenly, and they're bite-sized when people get a spoonful of their soup. So they have bits of carrots, onion, celery, and tomato in their soup. Okay, then we need to get our pot. With our oil, we add a little bit of oil to our pot. And as we're dicing, we will add it to our pot. Okay, now those are the celery. That's the celery, and now we're gonna do our carrots. We're gonna do the same thing with our carrots. We're gonna try to keep them in bite-sized pieces so everything cooks evenly. Our carrots, our celery, our onion, and our tomato. It adds a sweetness. The carrots add sweetness to the flavor, to the soup, and the celery and onion adds a little bit of depth. Now we're gonna chop up our onion, and we're gonna do it in the same. We're going to try to keep the same uniform pieces. So we start our pot out with onion, celery, and carrots. Peel our onion. I learned this soup from my mom when I was growing up. My mom made a lot of soups and stews and sauces. And it's a favorite soup for everybody. Chicken noodle is loved by everyone. Okay, we're gonna add our onions. And now we're gonna add a little bit of salt. A little bit of black pepper. And we're gonna put it on the stovetop for a few minutes, maybe 5 to 8 minutes, just until the vegetables soften up. Our vegetables are cooking in the pot and they're almost ready and wilted and soft. So now we're gonna add our diced chicken to the pot. Okay. We're going to give it a stir. And we're just going to let that simmer in the pot with the vegetables, the chicken, for just a few minutes before we add our tomato and our water. And the tomato will add color and flavor to your broth. We're dicing it bite-sized pieces, so when people spoon their soup, they're not, it's not a huge chunk that fits on a spoonful. You want everything in like bite-sized pieces that are not too big. Okay, and we're just gonna add this to our mixture here of our vegetables and chicken. Okay, we're gonna give it another stir. Everything is fully, you're gonna stir it, incorporate everything. And now we're gonna add our water, and we're gonna add enough water to cover our soup. So we're gonna add our water. Okay. And now our last ingredient, we're gonna add a little bit of chicken base. chicken base has a lot of flavoring in it, and it'll give our soup a little bit more color and a lot of chicken flavor. And you also have to be careful when you do add chicken base. It has a lot of sodium in it, which is salt. So you have to hold off on adding table salt until you taste it when your chicken is cooked to see if you need to add a little more or a little less, or else it's going to be too salty. Okay, our chicken soup is now cooking in one, and I have a boiling pot of water, and I'm going to add our noodles to it that we're going to incorporate into our chicken noodle soup. If I could open the package. Okay, and like I said, when we do add our pasta, we are not to cook it all the way through, because then you're gonna have mushy noodles in your chicken noodle soup. Okay, all we have in here is water and salt, and we add our noodles, and we're gonna cook them for about 5 minutes. And once they're ready to go, we're gonna drain them and set them aside until our chicken noodle soup is ready and to go, and then we'll add our noodles to our soup, and they'll continue to cook through in the soup, because the soup is going to be very, very hot. It's going to steam the pasta and cook it all the way through. So at this point, we're just going to leave the pasta on and let it cook for 5 to 6 minutes. We'll check it, drain it, and that's it. So we have to wait for a few minutes, okay? Okay, this is our pasta now, and you see that if it's almost cooked but not fully cooked, it still has like a little bit of bite to it. What we're gonna do at this time is we'll shut off the heat. We're gonna take it to the sink and drain our pasta. Okay. Now just remember that this is not cooked all the way through, so there's still some starches in it, and this will thicken our soup when we add it to our soup. Okay, and now we're gonna add it to our soup. Okay. Give it a stir, and it's gonna continue to cook through. And what we'll do at this point is we will taste our broth to make sure that it has enough seasoning in it, whether we need to add more salt, more pepper, more chicken base. And I think it's perfect, and it doesn't need anything. So at this point, we're just gonna let this roll at a small simmer for like 5 minutes, just to let that pasta cook through and incorporate the flavors of the chicken and everything. And then we're ready to cup and serve, and it's all done. Okay, at this point, our pasta simmered for another 5 minutes, incorporated with the flavors of the soup, and we're ready to cup and serve. So now, this is actually our finished chicken noodle soup. Ready to go. And at this point, what I like to add is a little garnish. And I add a little bit of parsley flakes to just give it a little bit of color on top. And all set. All ready. Chicken noodle soup, homemade.